What is going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. After a week's hiatus, how are all you beautiful people doing in chat? Appreciate all you guys hanging out with us, man. We missed a week. I know. You guys are used to us being here consistent every single week, but I had something come up last week, so I do apologize. But we're here this week, so shout out to everybody in chat. Once again, if you don't know, retweet that link. Let everybody know we're live here at the Shop Podcast. This we're gonna get all of that good game in on a Saturday. Wrap up that evening. Come hang out with us. Get your drinks. Kick your feet up. You know how we do here at the Shop Podcast. So let me just do a quick roll call here in chat. What's up? Only on Xbox. Shonsu, Timmy. I saw Bacon. Everybody, man. Talos in here. Andrew, I saw you earlier. Appreciate all you guys hanging out with us, man. Looks like we just rolling with the OG crew today, but you never know who might pop in. I might just shoot out a link or two, so you never know. So keep it locked here at the Shop Podcast. But I've had a great weekend. Hopefully, you guys are all having a great weekend as well. I'm not going to talk too much longer, man. Let me see what's been up with my compadres here, man. We'll start with you, Pong. How you been this week, brother? What you been playing, man? How's everything going?
Hey, great to be back, PTK. Last weekend was a little strange, not being on the Shop Podcast, man.
It was a little odd.
Felt all odd. I was playing, what were you messing around with last week? Oh, we were messing around with NBA 2K last week. Me, Steel, and Mav. We were playing some triple threat on 2K, and I was like, man, I should be talking right now. Not talking to you two. I should be talking to the chat and talking to PTK and Fuzzy, so it was a little strange. But yeah, no, it's been a ultra busy week. Haven't gotten as much gaming as I normally do in. Kind of getting into that pattern now. Trying to keep my schedule straight. But man, games are dropping. Having a lot of fun. Played some Scorn. And played some Plague's Tale Requiem, only through about Act 2 or whatever. So not very far, but absolutely gorgeous. Scorn is living artwork. Even if it's not for you, I suggest you try it because just the visuals are incredible. Then, of course, early campaign access for Call of Duty dropped Thursday night. And I was planning on just popping in that. Me and Mav got done PM and a PM. I was planning on just popping in that and play through a couple missions. And then, of course, I was going to take a trip to New Zealand and start playing Persona 5 Royale because you know how long I have been waiting for Persona to show up. And it was available if you traveled to New Zealand. So I was like, all right, I'm going to hop on a flight. I'm just going to play a couple missions, hop on a flight, and play some Persona. And I wound up having a sick dog that night. So I wound up staying up until the wee hours of the morning with her. But what wound up happening is I kept playing the campaign of Call of Duty because it is freaking amazing. I absolutely love what they've done. The story, the set pieces, the weapons, of course, the sound, the graphics are some of the best we've seen this gen already, in my opinion.
I've been seeing screenshots like crazy all through over the timeline. Now, a lot of them are the same screenshot, but it looks phenomenal. The first time I saw it, I was like, I couldn't differentiate between that being a real picture or an actual in-game.
I'm assuming you're talking about Amsterdam, the city pictures.
Amsterdam.
Yes, Amsterdam is ridiculous. Like Call of Duty missions, they're all linear, and you got the person you're with, and they're telling you, "Come on, catch up," blah blah blah. When you're not. I was walking around. I didn't care. I was walking around seeing this entire city. It was so gorgeous, taking pictures of everything. Drop dead, and it's not just there. A lot of places, the water effects are incredible, especially the surface water effects. But everything about this, the acting, the character models in the cutscenes are uncanny. They are legit. You can squint your eyes and think you're watching a TV show at times. You can tell it was all hands on deck. The entire Activision team was on this, but Infinity Ward is again setting the bar. There's more people talking about this than I've seen in a long time for a Call of Duty, especially considering this is just the campaign. I have seen more people screenshotting, putting out vids, all that kind of stuff, talking about how great it is. This, again, I said it. I believe in my prediction. We talked about it here, that this is going to break the Call of Duty records. I think this is the one, especially now we're going to have this for 2 years. They are setting the bar high. So haven't gotten into Persona 5 yet. As crazy as that sounds, I need a chunk of time. I can't sit down to Persona for 30 minutes. I can't do it. I'm going to need a block of time. That'll come tomorrow, I think, or maybe later tonight. But so that's what I've been doing this week, PTK. It's been great. Lots of news again. happening. So let's get down to business, brother.
Man, let's get into it. Shout out to you. Appreciate you for hanging out with us every single week, man. But yeah, I've been hearing great things about that Call of Duty. So, chat, if you've been playing Call of Duty, chat, let us know in the chat right now. Let us know how y'all think about it. Shout out to Steele. He said he just wrapped up the campaign. So I got to get into that, man. Shout out to Caitlin. Shout out to Timmy. Everybody hanging out. Once again, retweet the link. Let everybody know the Shop Podcast is live, and appreciate all you guys hanging out, man. And my brother from another, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere. Now, we were playing some games earlier. Shout out to Chivalry 2. You know, me and Fuzz was on that thing earlier playing with my son. And we had a great time. But how you been this week, Fuzz? What you been playing? What you been up to, brother?
Oh man, it's been a wild week. Stuff at my kid's school has been kind of crazy, but I think they finally caught the call-in culprit for terrorist threats or whatever. So hopefully that gets settled down. But as far
so
as
how come you're not in jail, Fuzzy?
Oh my goodness!
No. It was one of the. I guess it was one of the kids that was doing like the trade school stuff, like the labor stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He apparently, I guess they wanted more like half days or days off, so they would call in on a safe to say line and say some stuff, and the school would get locked down or closed.
Wow,
so,
unbelievable.
Yeah, so at least hopefully, well, one, everybody was safe. Two, I'm glad that the school went through the steps and procedures to get everything checked, and it looks like they got the kid apprehended, and they're going to throw the book at him because they don't play around with that stuff. So, but man, my kids are glad to be back at school, like a normal school now, where they don't have we're on lockdown for like half the day today. But outside of that, the real world stuff. Moving on to gaming, been doing a lot of my smorgasbord of gaming, my usuals like with Gran Turismo, Forza Horizon 5, trying to get the season stuff completed on that. A lot of Division, and then like Blam was saying, hopped into Chivalry 2, and it was like my first time playing. Like I bought this game probably about a year ago or shortly after it came out because one of my sons wanted to play it, and I loaded it up but never played it, just looked around and all that. But man, just playing now, like at first in first person mode, it was a little rough for me. People would slide behind me and chop my head off, type of thing. But once I got into the third person's perspective, I was able to handle my own a good bit better in comparison to earlier on. But yeah, it's a ton of fun. But as Pong was saying, with like the Call of Duty campaign, I'm just diving into that. Was it couple hours ago, and I'm already enjoying what I'm seeing, and it makes me wonder, like I wish they would do like a co-op experience game of like just the almost like the room clearing type of stuff. Like I know we got 6 Days of Fallujah is still in development. Hopefully that game gets released here soon, and I play a lot of Insurgency Sandstorm and co-op. But if they just took that co-op model and made that its own game or its own match or mode with the graphical detail that they have in this game, that would be phenomenal. But
hey Fuzzy, you need to send that to Ubisoft because Steele and I were talking about that this morning. All they have to do is bring back the original Rainbow Six. Yeah. That's all they got to do. That's what you used to do in that game. Breach and clear, baby, with co-op. It was freaking amazing. Oh, Fuzzy, you're speaking my language. Sorry, bro.
Yeah, I wish Ubisoft would listen to some of their fans. It seems like from what I hear from someone that we know that's worked over there, it's like the devs listen to the fans, but the upper management or the executives, they're the ones that's like, no, we need to turn it into a phone game to make more money. And it's like, why? But yeah, that would be an awesome setup for me. But I'm just so glad to be here with you guys, and just talk shop.
Man, and let's get to it, man. We got a lot to talk about, chat. Like I said, we've had a week off, so we locked and loaded. Didn't really get a chance to get it out last week, if you know what I mean. But we're going to get it in this week. Shout out to Splendiferous, Ashtray, Mr. Joanna Dark, Caitlin. I saw you in there. The FSP love is strong. Always in the house, man. That's my extended family over there, so we appreciate y'all, man. But shout out to everybody. We're diving right in, man. Kick back, get your feet, get your coffee, get your drinks and everything, man. Let's dive in. So we talking a little poll of the week this week, a real fun one. Shout out to everybody who participated in the poll of the week. It's always something fun we like to do here at the shop. I put it on my Twitter every Monday, maybe Tuesday if I forget about it and or it just doesn't go up for some reason, but generally Monday follow me there. You guys know the deal. So this week we had a fun one. We had what first-party Xbox game is most likely to be shown, revealed at the VGAs. We've talked about this, chat. We've talked about this quite a bit. And, since we're getting closer, people's ideas might change. So I had 4 different games. Had Avowed, Contraband, Compulsion's game, and Coalition's game. Avowed ran away with the vote, 58%. Not even close. We did recently get some kind of Avowed information. Shout out to Jess Corden from Windows Central. He threw out some Avowed stuff. And it was really, 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 really cool. I think we even got a screenshot. We'll get into all of that too. I'm jumping ahead, but let me get to my my 2 right-hand men here. We'll start with you, Pong. Did you follow the pack here, Avowed 100%, or did you pick one of the other options?
No, I did go with the pack here. All of them were possibilities for sure. But I think, again, it all depends on where you feel Avowed is at, because the community split, even amongst us podcasters, about who thinks it's ready for 2023
Yep.
and who thinks it's not going to be ready until 2024, right? So, and I don't think there's an easy answer on this. It's just where you fall. But I think, listen, if they're going to start, if like we talked about that Microsoft is going to begin showcasing things 12 months out at a time, right? Then what you look at is the VGAs would be the perfect spot if Avowed's ready for next holiday, which I think it's the perfect holiday game to drop in there after Starfield. Think about that. I know some people claim that that's crazy talk, that you can't have Starfield and Avowed within a 6-month period. I don't care. I think you do it. 2 different styles of RPG. I think it's huge. It would be massive to have 2 first-party RPGs, Western RPGs, to come out like that from 2 of the best studios in the world. So I think it works. So if it is ready for this year, then I think you give the teaser here at the VGAs. You show us, it doesn't have to be very long. It's the VGAs. It's not meant to be a showcase. You just give us the teaser with some, quick gameplay hits, a little bit of story, maybe cinematics, and then hit us with the Avowed title screen, and then move on. Don't even put a date up there unless you really want to get confident. Put 2023, but we know how that goes. Again, I don't care about dates anymore. Talk to me 2 weeks before you go gold, okay? I don't care. Just put up the title, because then I think come next E3, then you do the big blowout on Avowed, and you drop the information, and oh, by the way, available November of this year, whatever date it is, right? I think that's how you do it. So yeah, I went with Avowed.
Okay. And once again, it's funny because you're right about that. The community has been split since we saw Avowed. There's been a lot of information come out. And like I said, once again, shout out to Jez, just some recent information regarding Avowed. I think it's a game that we all just want to see. Like, I'm so excited about Obsidian, man. And I've said it every time we get more information. I keep making sure I tweet out that they're going to be one of the top 3 devs at Xbox. Is really undeniable at this point. You look at their track record, you look at Grounded, Outer Worlds, those are getting bigger and better every year. You look at the games that they have coming up that are coming out, those are going to be amazing. The quick screenshot we saw from early build apparently of Avowed looked amazing. The hand signals, all that cool stuff, man. I am 100% sold on Avowed. I know I'm jumping ahead here, chat, and I might get flamed by this, but I can't help it, man, for real. And like you said, why not have Avowed come out the same year as Starfield? There is absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
And if the game is ready, I prefer it to come out after Starfield. Maybe have Starfield a little earlier, maybe late
May,
summer.
June.
May, June, something like that. Depending on Redfall, there's a lot of other stuff. 2023 is going to be messy. So
you just don't wait. And that was a conversation that was being had too on Primetime. Shout out to Boom earlier this week, and they had the discussion about whether or not you hold games, and and shout out to Mag and stuff. He was like, "Nah, you got to hold these games back. You got to kind of." And I was in the chat because, of course, I was at work, but I jumped in the chat and I said, listen, we know they've got 35 to 40 projects right now with first, second, and third party deals without Activision Blizzard. You can't hold games anymore. If the game is, you can space them out and you can kind of play with the calendar, but if the game's ready, you got to drop, because that averages out. Again, if you average that over 5 years, you're talking about 7 to 8 games per year already. So you just drop those games. And with Game Pass, it doesn't matter if the games are similar. It doesn't matter if it's kind of the same genre. It doesn't matter if they're stacked. With Game Pass, people are the people that are coming into your ecosystem that you're pushing that you want to subscribe to, just like Netflix, they will play those games when they are done with their other games, or they'll be like me and turn into grazers and will play everything no matter when you drop it. It's always going to be there. That's the beauty of Game Pass, and it's always a possibility that somebody's going to look at that list and go, oh my God, that's right, Avowed dropped. I got to go play that now, and subscribe to your subscription service. That's why you got to have those games when they're ready.
Yeah, no, once again, I agree. Once they have a lot of bullets in the chamber. I think that's where we always fall back on that, Pong, and them sorting that out was always going to be the biggest problem. It's a great problem to have, but them they're going to have to sort when these games are going to come out. Like you said, it all depends on when they feel like these games are ready. So, and then just kind of falling back before we jump here to Fuzz, looking at some of the other options, once again, Contraband, Compulsion, and Coalition, we have even less information about those games. So, even less than Avowed, if we're being honest, right? Like we've at least seen something of Avowed, in the form of a screenshot or gotten some additional information. We haven't gotten anything about the other 3 games. So I do think that if Avowed is ready, I do think that they let it fly, man. I'd love to see it at the VGAs, man. I mean, I'd love to see Contraband too, but I don't know if that's as far along as Avowed. I don't think it is, just based on the time we heard about Contraband versus Avowed a couple years ago. We got Contraband.
Yeah, shout out to Others Inc. real quick too for I missed you last week, Others Inc. We didn't have a show. You did have some hot takes stacked up. I probably didn't need you to give another hot take for probably another
you're good
few
for
weeks
a while,
yet,
man. Yeah,
but
good.
You starting tonight with a hot take, so I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. His hot take tonight, by the way, folks, was, and again, it's all subjective here, but I'm gonna take it for me as a hot take. The top 3 devs at Xbox are 343, Turn 10, and the Coalition. Now who's 4-5, and so on. Yo! Okay, hot take. Hot take. Totally ignoring Obsidian, totally ignoring Bethesda, but okay.
Crazy.
All right. Turn 10, we can talk. Turn 10.
Yeah. Turn 10, definitely.
Once again, it is subjective, so we love to have fun here. Shout out to Zinc, man, always in the chat doing the damn thing. We need them hot takes, but I think you're good. A few podcasts ago, Zinc, you built up quite a bit of a stash here at the Shop Podcast. So I think you're good for a couple months, but we appreciate you, bro. Let's throw this over to you, Fuzz. Get your opinion, man. What do you want to see out of those 4 options? Or maybe your option isn't on one of the choices.
No, I went with Avowed, like probably just about everybody else, but it's only because I think Compulsion's game is a little bit further out than Avowed, so I don't think it's ready to show. I think Avowed being closer to being ready, or at least that's my assumption. And then with Coalition's game, I don't know. I don't know if that one needs the VGAs. Like, I think that one, whatever it is going to be shocking and surprising enough that it won't need a special event. That in itself will be the event type of thing. But yeah, I think Avowed's game is what we see at this VGA coming up. Contraband would be nice as well, but I think that's one that they save for this coming E3, because I don't think it shows up until sometime after E3. I don't know how far after, next June, but I think that will be shown its debut, action or in-game content. I think we'll see that come E3
Aren't they
next
the same
year.
Aren't they doing Wonder Woman as well, or is that a different? Am I tripping?
I think that's a different.
No,
developer.
that's the other. I'm getting Avalanche mixed up with the other developer. Yeah, my bad.
No, but Compulsion's game, I think with them doing some more recent hires, I think there's still some stuff that's still in the oven as far as that game. So that game, I think, is more like a 2024 debut, or maybe debuted in the VGAs in 2023. But Avowed, I think, especially considering with Jez talking about it recently, some screenshots out there leaking, and supposedly those are a bit of an older build in comparison. I think that one's probably the closest to getting the full unveiling, I guess you could say, and maybe not a release date, but at least a release year of next year kind of thing.
Okay. All right. Well, chat, let us know what you guys think, man. Poll of the week, man. Which one of those options do you guys want to see? You guys with the pack And do you want to see Avowed, or is it Coalition's game, or Compulsions? Or let us know down below in chat what you guys want to see, man. So appreciate you guys hanging out. Shout out to Mav. I see you sliding through, bro. Appreciate you showing that FSP love as usual, man. Shout out to you guys, man, doing the damn. Oh, and congratulations to him and Caitlin as well. I believe there was an anniversary recently, correct?
15 years.
15 years?
Nice.
So, yeah, gotta love it, man. Shout out to Mav and Caitlin, man. Gotta love it, man. It's awesome. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and throw this over to you, Pong. So we gonna bring it in. I don't know. Once again, guys, I don't know if we're getting messy this week early. If not, we'll see what Pong got in store for us.
Oh boy, I don't even know where I want to go tonight. Where do I want to go here? Okay, all right, let's go here. This is gonna be a little fun. See how I want to approach this. Let's go here. So, we know that Sony has the marketing rights for Call of Duty, correct? We all know this, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. We all know that, we now know that there is specific language that prevents it to come into Game Pass, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right, perfect. So what do you do if you're Microsoft? How do you work around the fact that you can't really use Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which is going to be the biggest game this year, bar none? I'm calling it now. This is going to be the hottest game. I don't think that's outrageous to say that through the holidays, every single kid this year is going to be playing Call of Duty again during Christmas break, on top of all of us adults playing Call of Duty as well. Not everybody, of course. I'm being, dramatic there, but you know what I'm saying. We're going to have that Call of Duty effect again this year, back on top as one of the premier games that everybody is playing, not just because you buy it every year, but because you're really having a good time. I think it's safe to say. So what do you do? What do you do if you're Microsoft and you're in this position? You're trying to buy ABK. Sony's messing around with you. They keep poking you and you're upset. So what do you do? You know what you do, fellas? You know what you do? You stockpile a bunch of Series S's, and then you go to some of the retailers and you say, you know what, retailers, we're looking to do a bundle. We're looking to do a package deal here. Let's package the Series S along with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 for Black Friday and keep it at $299. So you're getting the console for $229. Because remember, folks, this is a $70 game. We're not $60 anymore. This is now $70. So $229 for the Series S. Plus you get Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the game that every kid has got on their wish list this coming holidays. I saw this come out the other day. I think it was yesterday. Idle Sloth posted it. A bunch of people posted it. The Target ad has been released for Black Friday. And I'm sure this won't be the only place, but Target is obviously very large here in the US and in Canada as well. I believe Target's up there as well. So they are doing this for Black Friday. So this is a huge, huge deal from my point of view. But I want to get Fuzzy. What was your reaction to this? Number one, was this genius on Microsoft's part? Do you think we're going to see more of this type of deal with Modern Warfare 2 and maybe a Series X, maybe more Series S's? And do you think that this is the number one selling bundle? And of course, it's going up against God of War, PlayStation 5 bundle. Do you think this bundle right here, of course, it's depending a lot of different things, how many areas it's in, but do you think it can be the number one selling bundle for the holidays? What do you think?
I definitely think it could be the number one selling bundle. And it kind of surprises me that PlayStation is even doing a God of War bundle right out the rip. Like normally, like unless it was like a special edition console type of thing, they very rarely do those bundles until it's like at the 6-month period, unless, God forbid they didn't, meet the target numbers that they don't really discuss outside their walls. But that kind of surprised me. But on the genius move, yeah, this is definitely the genius move because, like you said, with them having contract language stating that they can't put it in Game Pass or services like that for X amount of time. And I think even Capcom and Konami's contract stuff showed even more wordage where it's like, oh, you have to wait until Sony does like a first right of refusal kind of thing, or at least can do a counter offer of some sort to kind of continue the blocking. But I think just having that whole package deal trumps what they did. Even like PlayStation on its own site was selling PS5s bundled with Modern Warfare, but they were charging you a full 60 for it for the game at least. I mean, yeah, you're saving $10, but because it's bundled in with a console, but it's like, all right, so they instead of giving it away with the console, like much like what we were used to earlier on in console generations, where it's like, oh, you get 2 controllers and a free game, but now it's kind of like, oh, every now and then you'll get a pack-in type of deal. Now they figure they're going to get their money's worth out of you buying the console at full price, and then saving $10 on Call of Duty for I guess it was like the $5.59 or something like that
Yep.
they had on their site.
Yep.
But Microsoft doing it at $2.99, like we always talked about, they didn't have to do a price increase. The fact that it's still at the same price, but you get a $70 game in it, basically means that the console is now down to the $230 price point range. So you could look at it as, oh, you save $70 off the console and you're getting the game that you'd probably wind up getting anyway. Or the fact that, this is their FU to Sony. Like, oh, you want to make it hard for us? Well, we have easier ways to make it hard for you. Just throw the game in for free. That way you don't need it in Game Pass, because then everybody that has an Xbox gets the game for free. Or do it as a well, I don't even know if they could do games with gold for a new game, but this is like the next best thing that they could do. And honestly, I think if I were Sony, I think I would back off or quiet down a bit, because if this is just Microsoft tame answer, can you imagine when they're like full on targeted on Sony? Like if God forbid the deal doesn't go through in the UK or whatever, I mean they'll probably still wind up acquiring them. It's just that they'll have to go through some hula hoops or something for the UK region. But can you imagine what the spit and fire that they're going to throw Sony's way at that point? So I think this was a genius move on their part. I think this is the best way to kind of thumb to the chin type of thing to Sony with the whole Game Pass blocking and stuff like that. And now it's Sony's move. Let's see what they do. I mean, they already got Silent Hill exclusive for a year, so they're still money hat and stuff left and right. And
no, Fuzzy, not Sony. They wouldn't do such a thing.
But
the CMA missed that one. They didn't see
yeah. They're blind to that. They're like, oh, we didn't see it. But this was a great move on Xbox's part, and I hope they do more of it. And I almost expect that they'll do more, and in fact ratchet it up even more if Sony continues to be a thorn in their side on this acquisition.
Great points, and I absolutely, of course, I'm in the same boat with you. Again, when I saw this, I was like, this is how you do it right here. And I'm waiting to see if more of this is coming down the pipeline, because if Amazon, it has this deal, if Amazon carries this, oh my God, look out. PTK, listen, when you think about it, you could buy 2 of these S's with the Modern Warfare 2. Let's say you got 2 kids in the house. You don't have to settle for one. You could buy 2 Series S's with Modern Warfare 2, each having a own copy for the same price as one PS5 God of War bundle and a Modern Warfare 2. You could buy 2 consoles for the price of one. And yes, of course, we know the power difference, but the kids don't know. And we know as parents, when you walk into that store, you do your damnedest to get everything on a list, right?
We don't need to short sell the S anymore.
No,
that thing
we
is
don't.
A monster. We don't even need to talk like it's, we get where it's at, but we don't need to short sell it anymore.
No, and we're not short selling it because it plays current gen games, right? Yeah. And the kids don't know any different other than the fact that may have asked you for a PS5, but if you come home with 2 Series S's and a copy for each one of the kids of Modern Warfare 2, do you think they're going to complain come Christmas when they open those things up? No, they're not. They're not going to complain, but PTK, for you, this deal, and let's assume it does pop up as otherwhere like an Amazon and that kind of stuff. Is this what puts them over the top for the holidays? And I'm talking about Xbox. Is it possible, PTK, in your opinion, and give me your general thoughts on this bundle as well, but in your opinion, do you think Microsoft and Xbox can outsell the PlayStation 5 without a first-party title this holiday? When all the dust settles and we get all the holiday numbers like we normally do you think that Microsoft and Xbox could outsell, at least in the United States and Canada, North America, with this bundle leading the way overall? Do you think they can outsell PlayStation?
So there's a couple different ways to look at this. So we could look at this historically, chat, and historically it's always close. The last few years, even the ass in the last generation, you think about during the holidays, they've always been very close as far as sales. Even with Xbox not having a first-party banger, quote unquote, for the holidays. So traditionally, we look at it, it's usually close. A bundle like this, though, one is huge. It's huge because once again, Call of Duty is on the up and up. It seems to be going in the right direction. There's a huge cloud of positivity, which you haven't gotten from Call of Duty in a very long time. And this is a no-brainer. This is a no-brainer. Like I said, you're basically getting the game for free. The consoles pretty much, and I believe Gabe said it or somebody said it in chat, they've already seen sales at Costco for $240.
Correct.
Pong.
Yes.
So
yes.
They're already there. This is definitely a middle finger to Sony and some of their practices and them holding on to that, essentially that marketing license for the next 2 to 3 years or even longer. I don't remember specifically, but the next few years, it's a very creative way. It reminds me of that remember what they did with Destiny when they did the Destiny cologne ad? You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
That was super ingenious because they couldn't promote the game at all because Sony essentially had it Destiny 1. So they put out an ad for Destiny cologne. It was kind of cool. And this kind of reminds me of that, but this is more practical, right? Like they can, if this hits Amazon and Call of Duty takes off like it's supposed to, this is a no-brainer. I have 2 kids myself. A lot of us and a lot of people that listen to this podcast are older, 30, 35 plus, and we have children. And it's a no-brainer. They're going to get this phenomenal game. You're getting a system. You're getting a controller. You're already, in the ecosystem. Game Pass is going to be available. Another thing is, too, this is important, and it's a really cool way for them to say F you, Sony, essentially. We're still going to be able to get our numbers. We're still going to be able to utilize this brand to its, to our advantage. It's really cool because this is all happening before the ink dries. Can you imagine once that ink actually dries on this deal? They're gonna load up, boys. People keep thinking about Call of Duty, and I know that's always been the focus of this deal. But nobody's talking about all the other stuff that they can throw in Game Pass. That they're not gonna get any pushback from Sony on putting all these other games in Game Pass. So I know we focus on Call of Duty because it's the big fish, it's the big get in the haul. But there's so much other stuff, so much other meat on the bone that I'm excited for. That they're just gonna let it fly, and hopefully, I'm hoping this deal gets done pre E3. So they could, they can include all of this in next year's E3 as well. But I do believe that there's a great chance that this helps them overcome Sony in November, or get them off on the right foot in the holiday season. Even with the God of War bundle, it's going to be tough because God of War is an amazing game. I do not want to downplay. God of War is going to move units. It is going to sell a lot of consoles. It's going to sell a lot of games as well. So we'll see. But this is a great equalizer for Xbox to have. And it's really, really creative, especially at this point in time with their hands being tied. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more, obviously, with your sentiment there, PTK. Let me ask you guys both this question, real quick question, off topic, but on topic. Seeing this bundle come out, and this is early bundle that we're getting preview of, and obviously they're going to have other deals. Costco does have the deal right now coming up on the S as well. I want to know from you two, now that we're kind of getting towards go time, do you think that we hear about the family Game Pass within the next couple weeks, let's say before Black Friday? Do you think they're ready to announce it and launch it in time for the holidays? What do you think, PTK?
Oh man, that's a great. I hope so, right? I hope so. That's we haven't even talked about that. That's a whole nother feather in the cap. That changes everything, right? Like every announcement going forward, every bundle announcement, that changes everything. If you announce that family pass first, like everything that changes the optics on all of these announcements going forward. Because now I can pay, X amount of a flat rate for the year, for the month, and every up to four people can get access. And if we're hearing that, the pricing is in the range of the $20-25 for four accounts. Bro, five accounts. Sorry, everything after that becomes a no-brainer. Like Game Pass becomes even less of a no-brainer. Everything, all these announcements, that enhances, in my opinion, each announcement going forward. So I hope it's ready. We haven't heard anything about it since the last little bit of information that I won't say leaked, but I know they're still doing testing. I believe it was was it Ireland?
Yep,
they were doing
Ireland.
testing it. It was Ireland last time we heard. So hopefully that's going well there. And hopefully we do hear something about it soon. VGAs, I don't know if they would save that for the VGAs. If they don't, so my question would be, Pong, kind of back at you here. If we don't get this announcement during the holiday, would they just wait up until E3 to talk about it, or
Yeah, I think it depends when they could do it sooner, because I think they're going to have a show. They're going to have some type of show early next year as well, depending on the ABK deal. I'm starting to get on Everborn's conspiracy theory that Microsoft is really turtling right now and trying to appear weak. Both them and Sony are. They're both racing to the bottom to be the weakest one in this ABK deal. So I think that could be a potential tripping point, but I think that they have a show sometime during the spring and start doing more showcases next year like we've talked about in the past. So I think it would be an early spring if we don't hear about it this year, the Family Pass. I think it would be out early next year, February, March type area. Yeah, so go ahead.
No, that doesn't have to be an E3 announcement. It doesn't even have to be. No. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a VGA. That's going to be big on its own. Yeah, Xbox Wire tweet. Yeah. That's huge. That's going to trend anyway as soon as they drop it. So that's like you said. If they do other shows, I didn't even think of that as well. Yeah. If they have these other smaller events, and we might see something like that there. So maybe an XO. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Fuzzy, what do you think, man? Do we get an announcement for Family Game Pass before Black Friday? What do you think?
I also hope so. Like, for the most part, I've been slowly using my Microsoft Rewards points, just to like up the amount of time that I have Game Pass Ultimate for, I think, until like next January of 2024 actually. And I got my one son that every now and then I'll spot him with a 3-month deal from the points that I built up, and then he winds up filling in like the rest of the time with the points he builds up on his account, since you can't game share beyond one other console type of thing. So having two kids, it's like, I really wish they would announce this so that way I can go whole ham on it and be like, all right, let me go ahead and do 2 years paid out with points and whatnot now, and move on to other stuff. But now it's like, as they wait for that to kind of kick in, they're like, well, I want to get Call of Duty on PC. And I'm thinking, well, I know the one son can game share since I have it on console, but then if I buy it on PC, we all got to buy it on PC if we're ever going to play online together. If we do, just a campaign, I can just get away with one copy, but for online, I got to buy 3 copies. So I'm hopefully, yes, I hope they do announce it before Black Friday. They could just do a tweet next Monday, and that would be awesome. Like, coming to North America, and go from there. And I think whenever they do, that's when the floodgates will probably open, especially if they time it right around like Black Friday or Cyber Monday or any of the holiday main shopping spree type time frame. Because then at that point, that $299 for the console with Call of Duty, and let's say you're in a household where you don't already have Call of Duty or Xbox console, and you got multiple kids, and the adult wants to play as well, you could pick up 2 consoles or 3 consoles if needed for a lot less than what it would take to normally pick up at least one other copy of Call of Duty and 2 consoles or something like that. So, and having that family plan deal would cover them for whatever else that they would want to play on that service, which, if people haven't been paying attention, there's so many games now. It's like, if you thought your backlog was already, overwhelming, now Game Pass makes it even more so. But
we said this month was the month that kind of kicked off. October was the month that ball got rolling, right? I think we talked about this probably June, July, that October was going to be the first month this year where we started to see that Game Pass, those quality, some of the AAA games and some other games start to finally hit, and we're getting 5, 6, 7 games a month.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yep.
Yeah. So if they do it this holiday, I honestly think they really should do it this holiday. I guess the only other drawback, and I'm hoping that they're well prepared and overthought this whole build as far as like how their servers are set and how many consoles they have in their server blades and stuff. Hopefully this will be that push that they need, and maybe they'll wind up being like 50 million subscribers, not overnight, but like overall number will be able to hit that 50 million mark, and hopefully it doesn't slow down the service in other places because of that. But yeah, I think they need to do something here soon, because I'm itching to at least pay out a year to go ahead and get that coverage for 5 gamer tags under one account. That would be awesome.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, thanks, brother. Brothers, I just thought this was a fun topic just because obviously I thought it was an incredible move by them, and I want to see it in more places. If they could pull it off, like I said, if an Amazon hosts this for Black Friday, it's on. I mean, I can't imagine how many they're going to sell. It's going to be crazy. So thanks for the opinions, brothers. Back to you, PTK.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you, Pong. Appreciate that. We're gonna spin the block because we got through that one kind of fast, so we'll probably spin the block and bring it back around. But appreciate you, Pong, and chat. Let us know how you guys feel about that. Once again, Xbox making big moves. Chess-like move from Xbox, but super cool. But we're gonna throw this over to you, Fuzz. We're gonna lead us into another topic, brother.
Well, this is going to be the racing half of the podcast, I guess you could say. I'm going to talk about 2 particular titles and how 2 different approaches or companies have catered to their fans to some extent or not catered to their fans. First, I'll start off with Gran Turismo. I don't know if anybody saw the article from Reset Era or anything, or the post from Reset Era, where a lot of people are expressing their disappointment in the title. And it's not like the normal stuff you'll see on Twitter where people are like, oh, the graphics, or a number of things, but like just the raw nuts and bolts. Like if you were to compare this to any of like the previous Gran Turismos, and even if we go back to Gran Turismo Sport, Gran Turismo Sport, when at the 8-month period, let's say, because that's where we're at now with 7, there were 73 cars added, 4 tracks added, and there was like league stuff and a lot of different events. So even though Sport was a little on the light side when it was released, it felt like last generation, that was kind of like they sent in their homework kind of thing just to kind of get it out there. So that way, I guess the upper management at Sony wouldn't be pissed off at them. It didn't seem like they wanted to build a full out game, or maybe they knew it would take much longer. And this was kind of like the stopgap in between. So at 8 months, that's what you had in GT Sport. As of right now, they've only added 22 new cars, which, by the way, the starting lists between both games were about the same. So it's like we're already behind the 8 ball. At least, we're not even at the halfway mark of where we were 8 months into Sport. There's only 1 new track that's been added and 2 new layouts in comparison to the other one having 4 tracks and multiple layouts. And then I think we only have like a handful of events that have been added. I mean, they've added some menu things, which are like the single player stuff, which is kind of cool. But as of yet, they're way lagging behind in comparison as far as the overall support. Now, we know Sony was talking about doing like games as a service, and we kind of assume Gran Turismo is going to be kind of that games as a service, or that's what they were hoping for with the microtransactions and such. But it seems like Polyphony is either behind the 8 ball as far as being able to produce content in a timely manner, or it's just they're not sure what to work. Well, I won't say not sure what to work on, but it's like what the fans want versus what they want seem to be 2 totally different stories. Now we're going to slide over to Xbox with Forza Horizon 5. And yes, I know one is an arcade racer, the other one is a circuit or track racer. 2 totally different genres as far as racing is concerned, but from a support standpoint, right now, Playground Games is kind of doing like a ode to the fans with their 10th anniversary celebration, where they're going through Forza Horizon 1 through 4 and giving you some of the cover cars, some story stuff, some I guess songs and things related from the previous games mixed into the current game. Now, one of the things I was hoping for that 10th anniversary is that we would actually have additional maps, just in the same high res fashion that 5 is in now, but that's above and beyond. But the fact that they're giving us like some of the track building content from those previous titles, so you can kind of make it look like if you're building a race, you can make it look like Surf City from Horizon 3, or you can make it look like Colorado from Horizon 1, and so forth. So along with a lot of the, I guess you could say, environmental stuff, they've also added a lot of the cars. They're bringing back a lot of the cars that were like, and I guess that's the biggest thing that's kind of hard with licensing. Some cars are only licensed for like a 5-year period, and now that they're at the 10-year mark, they're bringing back a lot of those cars, which I'm pretty sure they had to renew the licenses on, and adding those into the game. So even though from start, Forza Horizon, I think, had more cars that were 2017 and newer than were almost in the game for Gran Turismo itself. But now they're adding even more, and some of the classics, some of the fan favorites they're bringing back as like reward cars for completing parts of the season and stuff. So looking at how these two have treated that games as a service, you could tell one really kind of gets it, or at least has a roadmap on how to do it, and the other one is kind of still learning as they go. But to add, I guess, more fuel to the fire, there was a recent post from Turn 10 that has where they're accepting feedback and suggestions on their forum, which I wish Polyphony Digital would do that with a forum that they would have, that they would host themselves, or even if they went on to like GT Planet or other forums where
Oh,
Did we lose Fuzz?
did we lose Fuzz? I think we might have
Yeah.
lost him.
Yeah,
I don't-
I thought
yeah.
it was me, and I'm
I
like,
thought- yeah.
whoa.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on with Fuzz.
We lost
I'm not
Fuzz.
sure. It looked like we lost Fuzz. So
He's
Fuzz,
all right.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know if you want to try and.
Well, yeah, I know where he was going with this. I think, I hopefully we'll get him back here and he can finish his thought as far as where he was going. But obviously, I think he was looking at the differences between how Polyphony and Playground are handling these two situations, and what that means going forward. So I'll take it from there. And if he's got a more specific question than that, then we'll get him back in here. For me, it really is the tale of two different dev studios with different experiences. And it's no surprise that Polyphony is behind the 8 ball when it comes to trying to do that games as a service type game. Look, they've been behind the 8 ball for a long time in racing in general. They used to be kings. And I'm not going to take anything away from Polyphony. Polyphony started the racing genre craze in a lot of ways with Gran Turismo back in the day. Again, Gran Turismo back in the day was one of my favorite racing game for a long time. And they really set the bar high. But then Turn 10 came along. Oh, Fuzz, are you there?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm rambling on.
Yeah, no. I thought it was me.
Good.
I thought it was me and my
out,
stupid system, and then I heard PTK, and I'm like, oh wait, no,
and
it
then
was Fuzz.
we realized he probably got hit by the same person Pong did a couple weeks ago. It's part of the same group of people. Yeah.
So me bad mouthing Polyphony Digital.
Yes.
And Grand
JR DualSense. JR DualSense the hacker. He came and got you.
Got you.
He came and got you.
Where did I drop off at? Do you remember?
You dropped off when you were talking about comparing, how Polyphony's handling it, Play 10's handling it, and then you were talking about Turn 10 and something that they were saying on
the forum.
Yes, the forums.
Yeah, Turn 10 basically opened up their forum for suggestions. So if you have an idea, whether it's a particular track or a particular car, if there's enough people that vote for that idea or enough that agree, I want an 84 Camaro in the game. Yeah. If enough people want that same car, they'll go ahead and make that add that to the more of the priority list, as opposed to certain other vehicles that, maybe somebody doesn't want to see a DeLorean in the game and they don't get enough votes. They've already added the DeLorean, but nonetheless, it at least opens it up to the public or to the fans that are actually playing the game. So that way you get more of what you want. So the big thing I was going to ask you, Pong, was between how the different approaches on a racing game as far as for support after launch, which one do you think is the better approach as far as, and I kind of already know what the answer is, but I want to hear your take as far as when it comes to supporting your fan base beyond launch, which do you kind of align with or would appreciate more?
Yeah, okay. That's definitely more specific than
Good
what I was
question.
running with, but it's a great question. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I, I think that. I mean, are we talking about Turn 10 Playground and Polyphony, all as three options, or are we kind of putting Turn 10 and Playground together?
Turn 10 and Playground together because
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
work pretty tight knit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I
Yeah.
was thinking too. Listen, yeah, I think this kind of goes along with what I was saying, anyways. Turn 10 and Playground understand the concept of what it takes to make a living game, a games as a service, whatever you want to call it, an ongoing game, much more than Polyphony. And that's no shock whatsoever. I mean, Polyphony has been stuck in their ways for a very long time. And what I was saying before is they used to be kings back in the day, and they earned it. They set the bar extremely high, but then Turn 10 came along and took the bar and moved it. And Polyphony is not. Yeah,
Drove
it
away with the bar. Fuck
Yeah,
moving it.
yeah, it happens. And but Polyphony, again, there's no reason why Polyphony could not have taken things that Turn 10 did and learned from them and moved the bar on Gran Turismo and caught up. There's no reason other than the fact that they make a game a certain way. They're used to it as a dev team, and that's how they go about their business. And Polyphony, let's be real here, has never been a quick turnaround studio. This is not their forte. We've joked about this all the time. Like, if you're going to give Polyphony a deadline, oh my God, good luck. You're not going to see it for another year and a half beyond that. If you're lucky, and then the game isn't going to be a full-fledged complete game at that point. And I don't, I'm not ripping on Gran Turismo. Again, Gran Turismo back in the day was my favorite racing title, and I still think that there are certain aspects of Gran Turismo that I like more than Forza games. But overall, Forza has become the king. But to ask Polyphony to change their entire culture about how they go about developing a game, and to ask them to suddenly be able to turn around and support a living game, a games as a service, and expect them to be able to pump out content or to be, on top of like what the community is asking for when they've never cared what the community has asked for. They've done their own thing. Like, I don't see that happening. I mean, that's a studio, again, that's set in their ways. So yeah, Turn 10 and Playground have been doing this for a very long time at an extremely high level. And they've gotten it down with all the DLC, with the car packs, with everything that they've kind of perfected between both Horizon and regular Forza. I think that they are set up perfectly to do this, and we're seeing the results of it. Now, is everything going to be 100% the way people want it to? No, of course not. Everybody's going to ask for more tracks. Everybody's going to ask for more cars. But Turn 10 has learned their lesson, and Fuzzy, you speak to this more than anybody. Turn 10 has learned their lesson through the years to listen to the community a little bit more. You can't let the community build your game, but you can certainly let your community kind of guide where it goes once it's out, right?
Exactly.
You can give the community you still do what you want to do as a dev team and what you have planned, but you can add in, like, especially in racing games, you can add in cars or a track here or there that the community really, really wants to see. And that goes a long way with the community. It doesn't have to be 100% of the suggestions, because we all know if gamers design games, it would be hell. Okay. The game would be shit. Okay. Period. There's no other way to say it if gamers design a game. But you can, as a dev team like Turn 10, like Playground have done, listen to the community and implement some of the things that the community is asking for, some of the features, some of the cars, some of the tracks, and give them just a taste of what they're asking for. And the community appreciates it, and they love it. And that's something that Polyphony, if they're going to honestly make a go of this, and if Sony really, truly internally is saying Gran Turismo is now, one of our games as a service, and we're expecting you guys to update it, they're going to have to take lessons real quick. And
Yeah.
they've never been good at taking lessons real quick. So I don't know how this is going to turn out, Fuzzy, but it's disappointing to hear that Gran Turismo is so far behind right now. Because you would like to think that they might have done some homework before putting this game out, and kind of had a roadmap and kind of seen that they had to pick the pace up, or at least have more packs and tracks in the works to keep the community happy while this thing continues to live on. You would have liked to see that they had done that, but obviously they haven't. And Polyphony has got a long road ahead of them. And I think the Gran Turismo community, while there's certainly going to be a lot of enjoyment, you've played a ton of it, Fuzzy, a ton of it. As much as you have criticisms of it, you still play it because it is a good racing game at the end of the day, no matter what. But as the years go on here, Polyphony is definitely going to have to do something to keep the community around, keep them interested.
Definitely like your feedback on that. So I'll turn it over to you, PTK. As far as, and then I'll tailor this question a little bit more towards, like, from an anniversary standpoint, with both games being out for some time, Gran Turismo for 25 years, Forza in its glory, primarily with just Horizon being 10 years. I think Motorsport is getting closer to 50. I think they already did their 15. I think they're a couple of years away from 20. But with revisiting some of your previous content and incorporating.
JR Dual Set's got to begin.
JR Dual Sets again.
Yeah. I'm not the only one. Damn.
What is going on? Chat, man. We going to have to get Fuzzy a VPN or something, man.
Fuzzy, you're gone. So if
Fuzzy,
you can hear us, you're gone.
If you can hear us, if you can hear us. But I think I know where he was going with the question.
Yeah,
I
go
heard
for
you
it.
answer the question. So
Yeah.
Just till he gets back or till he fixes that. So once again, I 100% agree with you on this, Pong. It just shows the differences in the strengths and weaknesses of each company, right? This is, Playground, Turn 10, they've done the games as a service. This is their strength. Like you said, at one point in time, Gran Turismo was the must-have arcade racer, sim racer, either or. There was really no other game that was competitive in that genre. Once Gran Turismo hit its stride during that PS2, PS3 era, it was Gran Turismo or nothing. So but once again, Xbox has always leaned on multiplayer. That's something that Xbox does. This is factually true. Xbox just does multiplayer and games as a service better than Sony. That's not a strength, and it shows in Sony Studios. That's why we see them having to invest recently in 10 games as a service games, because they don't generally invest. They don't generally do that. So this just shows. But ultimately, I think that everything will be fine with Gran Turismo. I know that it's had some issues here and there, but I still think it's a great game. Has a great infrastructure. There's a lot of meat on the bone. The skeleton's already there. But that's just not their forte, and it shows. And like you said, on top of that, them having a long turnaround with their game, and generally they take quite a bit of time to do anything, updates, things like. If we're being honest, I mean, we gotta be honest. Like Pong said, that's kind of their calling card. Polyphony, you're not gonna get a short turnaround on anything you essentially ask them to do. So, Playground and Turn 10 is simple. They're just better at that. And them now reaching out to the community, getting direct feedback from the community, that wasn't something that they were doing before. As great as those Horizon games were, as great as Motorsports were, they weren't getting a ton of feedback. I know you can speak to this more than I can, Fuzz, because I know you were part of the forums and things like that, and they did reach out, and they would get feedback. They had surveys and things like that to some of the people that really, really played that game. But now they're reaching out just to the general public, getting direct feedback, and that's always a great thing. And they're agile. They can do a lot of different things, short turnaround on things, be it the fact that they've, been able to pump out a Horizon, consistently every couple years, as well as a Motorsport every couple years as well. Those games always live up. They get better every single game. That's the sign of a fantastic dev. Every single Horizon has essentially gotten better. Obviously, there's some things along the way that people will pick and choose and say, oh, well, that's not really an improvement. But ultimately, I think across the board, each game gets better. Like this next Motorsport, just to kind of lead an example, the environments from, all of the crashing and the wrecking, everything is real time now. Like all these different things that we wanted to see out of this next generation with the hardware input in the Forza, and for them to actually show us, this game is truly next level. They're implementing a lot of those things. So I think that they're just more agile. They're used to working on a games as a service, something that they know it has to last for 3 or 4 years, 5 years. And that's not really something Gran Turismo has had to do. Remember when they were kind of on top, there was really no other competition. So there was no need to, have this short turnaround and, constantly put out content. So Forza Horizons come along, or Forza in general has kind of come along and taken that baton, and they've actually changed, the entire, that entire racing genre, what they've been able to do. So I just think, once again, it's just two companies being better at, two companies, Playground and Turn 10, being better at working in that, essentially in that area than Polyphony is.
Awesome. And I do apologize if I'm having some technical difficulties on my end, but greatly appreciate your guys' feedback on that. And, as someone that enjoys a lot of racing games, and I hope for both devs to kind of learn from each other as far as some of the steps that they've taken to implement some things from their competitors, game into their own. And it looks like more recently, about the only thing I've seen that, Gran Turismo has adopted is the new exterior camera where you can kind of rotate around the car, which I know a lot of Forza only fans kind of, whenever they try Gran Turismo, kind of want something along those lines, because otherwise you have just that slidey still car and it looks like the track slides as opposed to the car moving type of thing. But having that new camera was definitely a big pickup. But it looks like each and every iteration, Turn 10 and Playground Games have, reiterated on the tire model, the suspension model, trying to perfect that handling aspect, as well as, things like heating the tires, which recently Gran Turismo had to tweak theirs a bit. But it's good that there's competition, but I really wish Polyphony Digital would kind of get on board or get on the ball as far as, either faster turnaround or partner with, another studio that maybe Sony can acquire to do so for them. But that's all I got, guys.
Awesome. Well, hopefully, Zink, you got your racing fix, because he was waiting on that one for us for sure. So let's get into a couple other things. It's going to be some quick hitting stuff. And once again, chat, this is the part of the show that we usually let you guys take over. So if you got questions, go ahead and drop them in. I did see 1 or 2 questions earlier, so I'll go back and grab those. But shout out to everybody in chat. What's up, 108 Dragons, my guy falling in here. Appreciate you, brother. Once again, Spendiferous, RSJ, appreciate you guys hanging out. Drop those questions in chat, but I got a couple quick hitters. I want to talk about some of the new trailers we got, Fuzz and Pong, this week, and kind of get you guys' opinion on what we saw. First, I want to talk a little bit about there was a Final Fantasy 16 trailer. Obviously, I want to talk about the Silent Hill stuff too, and kind of get you guys' temperature on that. And once again, chat, let me know how you guys feel about all of this too. We love kind of ping pong and spitball and all this stuff. So, I did you see both as well, Pong? By the way, did you see the? I know you saw the Silent Hill stuff. Did you get to see the Final Fantasy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well?
The Final Fantasy that was missing PlayStation exclusivity attached to it. Yeah,
here we go.
That was weird. That was really strange. PT.
So no, talk about it. No, talk for real. No, talk about it. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, Final Fantasy 16 has been on my radar since it came out. I love, again, anybody who's listened to me talk, I don't like the modern Final Fantasies. I would rather it still be turn-based, but I'm cool with the action style. That's fine. I don't care about that stuff necessarily anymore. But I like the high fantasy stuff. And I like that Square Enix still, to me, when they do high fantasy type RPGs, they're one of the best. So Final Fantasy 16 is looking gorgeous to me. It looks absolutely ridiculous.
It looks great. Good. I'm not gonna lie. It looks really good.
No, it's looking awesome. Again, 15 didn't hit. The boy band thing didn't do it for me. It just wasn't my bag. Of course, I'd love to be playing Final Fantasy 14, and there was a little movement on that this week too. They got their new servers up and running in the West. Maybe, just maybe, that means Xbox is on its way. We'll see. But I think that's going to be great. But it was interesting that we had that conversation this week with the little Twitter deal from Millie A, depending on where you feel she, quote unquote, is as far as an insider goes. Look, you got to take it with a big, giant grain of salt. But of course, she came out and said that Sony's playing hide and seek right now because of CMA. They were going to have a showcase. They they obviously got rid of that showcase because of the ABK deal. They don't want to give Microsoft any more ammunition. Silent Hill was going to be a part of that showcase. Final Fantasy 16, of course, was going to be a part of that showcase. And here we are. We wind up having separate kind of presentations from each one of them this week. And then the Final Fantasy 16 trailer has no mention of PlayStation 5 exclusivity, which we know that never happens when it comes to Sony timed exclusives, timed quote unquote exclusive. They promote it every chance they get. So that was a little odd, but the trailer looked great. Again, Square. I hate them for how they handle their releases. I can't stand it, but when they put out some of their top flight Final Fantasy stuff, they come to play, and this 16 looks no different. Silent Hill. Welcome, horror fans. This is going to be your generation.
Good.
You guys
good right now.
Look, it's crazy. It's crazy how much horror we are getting right now. I mean, it's insane to me. I wish I loved horror games because I'd be in heaven right now. So for all you horror fans, shout out to you. Now, I played the original 2 Silent Hills. They were borderline back in the day. Too much horror for me. I had to play with the lights on, sound turned down. But I did play through Silent Hill 1 and 2 back in the day. For a good amount of people, Silent Hill 2 is one of the GOATs, if not the GOAT of horror games. So the fact that they're remaking this game is fantastic. The fact that Bloober Team, after all the talk that we had, listen,
we gotta talk
Blue
about
Box. Blue Box is going to be the ones doing this. Blue Box. And then when Blue Box started falling apart, then it was like, oh, well, yeah, that's all part of the plan because Kojima's behind Blue Box. This is Kojima's fakey style that he does.
We said Bloober was doing this
like 2
we
years
ago.
We did. That was the one consistent rumor, but you got to remember, PTK, the problem back then was that Bloober was doing a timed exclusive called The Medium for Xbox, and when The Medium came out, people called it shit. People said it was trash. Bloober can't do anything. They're a terrible dev team. All of that, right? So nobody wanted Bloober back then because, they were doing a timed exclusive for Xbox. How dare they? How dare they do that, right? So now we finally, but to your point, PTK, and I brought this up this morning, Living Split Screen, that was the one consistent rumor that we've had concerning Silent Hill, just because people didn't want to believe it or didn't want, or just want to trash Bloober and they dismissed it. Guess what? That is actually what happened. They are going flat out. Bloober is a great development house. If you didn't like The Medium, that's fine. I understand. The Medium was not a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, but I enjoyed what I played. It's
creative as hell, though. I love what they were trying to do. Yeah.
Hell, they nailed the atmosphere, which is what Silent Hill is. Like that's almost the entirety of the game is the atmosphere in Silent Hill. That's like a part of that's part of your what you're fighting is the atmosphere in Silent Hill. So they are going to crush this game. And what the short parts, the bits that we got from this, they're making it an Unreal 5. They are taking advantage of all the bells and whistles that Unreal 5 currently has. They've already released, unlike another game, Gotham Knights, they already released the PC specs for this game. And this game isn't due out until next year, but they already released the PC specs to give people an idea. And let me tell you, if you want to run this game at 1080-60 on a PC, you're gonna have some beef. You're gonna have to have some beef underneath the hood. Okay, so they are going to be pushing the envelope with this game, and it looks great. Now I know some people had a problem with the character model of the dude and how they redesigned it, and they didn't like the character model. Listen, that's subjective. It is what it is. But if you just look at the overall package, the bits that we got to saw, they are going to nail this game. So I'm happy for the horror fans. I'm happy for the Silent Hill fans to finally have this back, and let's finally, Again, I don't want to give them a whole lot of credit because they should have done this a long time ago, but thank you, Konami, for waking up and realizing that you have some IP that maybe you should license out because you got a lot of fans out there that might want to see some of this IP come back, even if you guys don't want to make games anymore. That's cool, but maybe you should probably use it. So I'm happy because not only did we get the Silent Hill 2 remake, we also got another game.
Two other games. It was a total of 3, right?
Total of 3 games plus a movie. So we're also getting a movie out of the deal as well. But Silent Hill, God, I forgot the name. Hold on, let me find it real quick. I got it somewhere in here. But the other Silent Hill game, which is going to be published by Annapurna, which we all know if Annapurna is publishing a game, it's probably going to be pretty damn good. So
Yeah.
Annapurna is publishing. It's from the Observer.
Yeah, shout out Annapurna. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah, Annapurna is amazing. But it's from the Observer dev studio, and they're doing a game. And then we're getting Silent Hill F, which I think is a code name from another studio as well. So we're getting multiple Silent Hill experiences. Again, whether or not I can play them at the end really doesn't matter to me. I'm just happy the fans are finally getting something. I'm happy that Konami finally woke up. Now, with the I keep going back to Final Fantasy. With the Silent Hill 2 remake, though, of course, we've got another timed exclusive situation, at least 12 months. It's console exclusive, PlayStation 5. Not a shock to anybody, but it's sad. It really, truly is that Silent Hill should be one of those IPs that's enjoyed by more people, especially since it's been gone for so long. And yes, I know it was associated with PlayStation back in the day. That's where if you thought of Silent Hill, just like Final Fantasy, you think of Sony. I get that. But the fact that they went timed exclusive, look, it's a win for them. I'm not going to discount it. There's going to be a lot of fans who want to play this game out the gates. There's a lot of fans out here. It may not be 10 million. It may not be 15 million people, but there's a lot of fans who've been waiting on a new Silent Hill game. They're going to get a PlayStation 5 if they don't already have one to play Silent Hill 2 remake, assuming that it comes out as well as we all think it's going to. They will go get a PlayStation 5. Yeah. This is a big win for Sony. It's just sucky that it is this one, because I think there's another fan base on Xbox that would have loved to see it come. But overall, great weekend for both Final Fantasy and Silent Hill. Again, great showing again from 16. It just gets better every time I see something new out of it. And again, we've been hearing the Silent Hill stuff for a long time now. Konami's got to finally come out and admit that they've got somebody working on a Metal Gear 2, by the way, Konami. So let's get on the ball here. Everybody's been waiting on that as well. You got somebody working on it. Just come out and announce it. It was just great to see this happen for the Silent Hill fans for sure.
Oh yeah. And shout out to Konami for at least, getting back to the bag, doing what they should be doing, rehashing these great IPs and, giving people that didn't get a chance to play them the first time around, giving them that fresh coat of paint with these new engines and these new hardware, because the game looked amazing. So shout out to Konami for that. But let's get your opinion on this, Fuzz, if you saw either or. Did you see both trailers?
Yeah, I saw both, although I wasn't as enthused. Although the graphically, I can't even talk today. Final Fantasy 16 looked amazing as far as graphically, but it's not really on my radar. Is not really a IP that I played that often. Like I played a little bit of 15 when it was in Game Pass, and I think I wound up buying it because one of my sons wanted it. But Final Fantasy wasn't really my cup of tea. But as far as Silent Hill, definitely like what I saw. I'm glad that we were all proven right with the Blooper Team deal. No Kojima, no blue box, crap that people were talking or trying to say, oh no, that's what's going to be. And I'm just a little disappointed that it's a timed exclusive. But at least it comes to PC, I guess, same time as it comes to PS5. But I don't know. I would have rather have played it on my Xbox than my PlayStation. Like, I try to keep the PlayStation to just stuff that's by their first party. But yeah, it is what it is type of thing. But it was awesome to see that IP is back. Like you guys said, it's great that Konami is licensing stuff out. They should do more of this. But yeah, the only negative I have is that I wish it would have been, everywhere, day and date, or do kind of like what Medium did. I think Medium wasn't even 6 months. I think it was like 3 months or 5 months or something like that before it came over to PlayStation. That would have been more tolerable, I guess you could say. But I guess Konami and Sony had their backdoor agreements where it's like, oh no, 12 months.
Previous obligations, right?
Yeah.
So we call them, quote unquote, right? So, but I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, these Silent Hill fans, I'm so glad that they finally get something. You know what I mean? Because they've been asking for this for a very, very long time. So at the end of the day, I know we shoot the shit and we throw little shots here and there, but it's always good for the fan base to get what they want. It's always glad to see, because they've been waiting for a long time, and there's been a lot of rumors, a lot of smoke and mirrors, and we finally get some hard evidence, some actual facts that this game is coming out. So I guess we'll go to the questions. Shout out to Bacon. I went back, bro. No worries. I went back and found your question, so we'll get to what he said. Question. I'll actually throw it on the screen here so everybody can see it. He said, question, after the ABK goes through and Sony stipulates COD can't go into Game Pass right away, do you think Xbox gives it out for games with gold every November, which is part of Game Pass Ultimate? That is a
No.
no, I don't think that happens. You know, we want and I think I can speak for the three of us. At some point, I think me, Fuzz, and Pong agree gold is gone. They're like gold is going away. And I think we're all on the same page here because we've talked about this before. Once Game Pass gets to a certain number, I think that's what I feel like that's what they're waiting on. Once Game Pass gets to a certain number, I think they're gonna go ahead and drop gold because they need because gold. Remember, that's $3 billion a year that they're getting on gold subscription. So that gold money. So you got to be able to replace that. You can't just give it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're not going to give it away on gold. It's one thing to put it in a Game Pass to increase your subscriptions. It's a whole nother thing just to give it away free and like make no money off of it whatsoever. Like that, no, they're not going to give it away. They're not going to be petty with Call of Duty at all. In fact, if the ABK deal goes through, like I've said, Microsoft is going to back, and a lot of people are probably not going to be happy with this, and I understand because again, I told you all, if I was Phil, I would have been cutthroat a long damn time ago, and I probably wouldn't even be in position to get ABK because the regulators would look at me and be like, "Yeah, no, we know what you're going to do." But they're going to go back to Kumbaya, and they're going to play nice with Sony. Why? Because they're not done with the deals, and they're going to be back in front of these regulatory bodies, and they are going to want current day history on their side. So they walk back in front of these regulators and be able to say, see, we told you so. We said what we were going to do, and we've done it. We are the caretakers of ABK now, and we followed through with all of our promises. We're still cutting a deal with Sony. Sony's still getting it on their platform. We're not taking anything away from anybody, so that the next set of deals that they do, the big ones, which is going to include another publisher, whether people believe it or not, they are going to go get that Eastern publisher, whether it's Sega, whether it's Capcom, whoever it is, they're going to go get that. And they're going to be able to walk in that room and look everybody in the face that doubted them and say, we told you so. We're the good guys here. Now pass this damn deal. And that's how this is going to go down. So they are going to play still nice with Sony. Now, if the deal doesn't go through, that's when things get real interesting. They're still going to have to go back in front of regulatory bodies because they're going to make purchases. But they're going to be playing by Sony's rules because the regulatory bodies will have told them that they have to play by Sony's rules. And we talked about this. Jez wrote an article about this week. He's on the same page as a possibility that Microsoft turns around and says, okay, you don't want us going buying big publishers like ABK. That's fine. We'll go buy a smaller publisher like Sega or Capcom, somebody like that. But in the meantime, you're telling us that we got to do timed exclusivity deals, that we've got to go buy these games. That's okay with you all? Okay, that's fine. Good luck, Sony. You're not going to see a third-party big title for a long time on your console. Yeah. And I think that's when it gets real interesting on how they handle it. But I think overall, there's no way to go back to the original question, which was a simple no. They're not going to give away Call of Duty on gold. They wouldn't do that. That's giving away free money. They're just not going to do that. It won't happen.
Yeah. I don't think that's happening. That's a bit extreme. I doubt that would ever happen. So there's other vehicles where, why not make a little money off of it? There's other ways you can still put it in, Game Pass. It still makes sense there as well too. That's why you have it. So, but yeah, once again, questions, chat. Let us know what you guys. Unless I know Fuzz and Pong, we had a bunch of stuff in the DMs. Chat. Sometimes I wish you guys could see our DMs because a lot of that stuff. We talk about in there, man. A lot of that stuff's actually come true or been really, really close. But where we at? Where we want to go while we're waiting on questions? Pong, Fuzz.
Okay, all right. I got one for you guys. Speculation Town here. We got word this week that potentially Bungie is working on bringing back Marathon. I don't know how many people out there have played Marathon before. It is the precursor to Halo. Yep. Correct. It's a great game. It's actually, I believe it's backwards compatible, is it not? I think you can buy Marathon and play it. I'm pretty sure I saw that. Anyways, they're bringing that back. That's supposedly the next IP that they're working on. It's in partnership with NetEase. It's very Tarkov-like. Big focus on no load times, very minimal queue times, likely free to play live service, which makes sense. Highly customizable characters, authentic Bungie FPS experience, of course. So if they bring back Marathon Brothers, is this, and let's assume it's free to play. They've said that Bungie said when they got bought out that they are in control of their own destiny, that everything is going to be peachy keen, and that they're going to stay multi-plat.
Mm-hmm.
What does Sony do, in your guys' opinions, to take advantage of Marathon, assuming this is real? What does Sony do? Do they attempt to make DLC that's timed exclusive? Do they give away free things, much like we see Xbox does with Ultimate benefits, with Game Pass benefits where you can get free stuff? What do you think they do to use this game? Because obviously if it's free to play and if Bungie stays true to their word that they are going to stay multi-plat, we assume that we're going to see this on everything possible. What do you think Sony does to take advantage of Marathon coming back?
Well, it's so sorry to cut you off. Sorry about that, Fuzz.
No. You can go ahead. Go ahead.
So it's to me, it's interesting, right? Like they've already said that they're investing heavily in this games of service. They got, I believe they even put a number on. They said 10 in particular, right? 10 games of
12
service games. 12. Sorry, 12. I was short.
Yep.
So
yep.
So we know that they're going this direction, but Marathon is actually so. Oh man, Marathon will be a great idea. Now the Tarkov is kind of throwing me off. How do they execute that, right? I think the IP itself, obviously, they have to do a bunch of promotion because I think a lot of people that aren't a lot of people that are gamers now that probably just started gaming have never heard of that, so they have to do a bit of promotion. But ultimately, I think that them getting that game on that system, getting it in the ecosystem, having them make a game like that out of it, I think it works. I think it works ultimately. The customization that they were talking about, I think that will be fine as well. Do you think that it stays just on PlayStation? Right? Is that were you asking that too?
No, I think it goes. I said assuming that Bungie keeps their word and keeps it multi-plat, because it'll be a free to play game. You want it as many places as possible.
You want as many places as possible.
Yeah. But let me twist this a little bit then, PTK, since you just brought it up. Could Sony, let's say Marathon comes out free to play, does well as a free to play game, could Sony pay, and that's quote unquote because they're first party team, but could they convince Bungie to go back to Marathon and make it a classic first person shooter game exclusive for PlayStation to go head to head with Halo?
I mean, they could. They could. Oh man, that's yeah. I don't really.
I mean, if I was Jim Ryan, that's what I would do. Fuzzy, what do you think, brother?
Yeah,
I'm thinking if they try that, then you have almost like the Activision Bungie deal all over again, and they're like, nope, cut ties, let's go. I think it would be in Sony's best interest to try to make it like a campaign single player, exclusive type of deal. But then that almost seals the fate for the campaign for Call of Duty. Like keep Warzone as a multi-plat, and then the campaign, like what some people have hinted to or suggested, down the road for Call of Duty, make the campaign aspect of it, exclusive, and then keep all the multiplayer stuff, open. So there's a path of that, but Bungie, I don't think would be the one that would want to tolerate that. Like I think Sony's best convincing or arm twisting that they do with Bungie is like, hey, we get all these exclusive skins. Like do something where you can have skins from what was the thing before Horizon? Not Haze. What the heck was that other one? Killzone. Have skins from like Killzone, or even have skins from Horizon in there. Like that would be like PlayStation exclusive, content that, if you're a PS Plus premium member, you get, monthly, you get these updated skins or codings or something similar to like what Halo does with Game Pass Ultimate. I think that's their better approach, because Bungie, I'm not predicting a breakup, but I I wonder how long Sony is going to get on their nerves before they're like, yeah, we need to be independent again. And I give it 8 years or less. I don't
Okay.
even give it 8 years. I give it 4, to be
Okay.
honest.
What about this then? This, my mind has been reeling. Nobody's really talked about this because it kind of came out this week and was under the radar or whatever else. But okay, what is this? What is this? Sony doesn't force Bungie's hand or try to get them to do this, right? What
Mhm.
happens? They just get Bungie to help Guerrilla Games make a marathon first-person shooter in the classic style and go ahead. How interesting. I'm just, my mind's boggled because
Yeah.
how interesting would it be to have the precursor to Halo come back as Marathon and somebody develop a 1-for-1 to go against Halo, and all of a sudden Sony does have that Halo competitor. And no, I'm not telling anybody that all of a sudden it's going to beat Halo or anything like that. I'm not
No.
saying any of that. So others think, calm down, slow your roll. Okay, I know you're fuming right now. I'm just saying, how interesting would it be if they actually made it happen and Marathon comes back and is competing in some form or fashion? Like I said, they've got Guerrilla Games who've done FPSs. I mean, there's no reason why they couldn't do that down the road. Just use the IP, have Bungie help them out with some of the specifics of Marathon and some of the mechanics. I mean, I just think it's a crazy thought that might actually be a possibility now.
That would be an awesome approach if they give that a try. Like, definitely, I think that would ease tensions on them trying to twist Bungie's arm. But yeah, having Gorilla do it would be the best alternative. And considering their previous experience, I'm not going to say it's going to be a certified hit at that point, but it would
No.
definitely stand a chance at that point. Let's put it that way. It would give anybody that's for a first person shooter something to look at over at the PlayStation side that's first party at least, and that would be something that would be worth their while. Like
Yeah.
Bungie right now with Destiny, that's going to still be a multi-plat draw no matter what, but have something that's in house. Yeah, that would be an awesome idea. Although don't say it too loud because Jim is probably listening to your conversations right now.
Well, he hasn't cut us off again, right? He hasn't cut you
Yeah, he's
off again,
listening.
Fuzzy.
No.
So
He's
so
taking
he's
notes.
writing them down. Yeah, no, I just thought it was interesting when they brought up because it's weird, like how it's just strange how sometimes the world works and things come back around. And it was kind of crazy when I heard that Bungie was actually going to go back to Marathon again. I was like, yo, wow, okay. I never even entered my mind that they would go back to Marathon again after they got done with Halo. Again, for anybody who doesn't know, Marathon is straight up it's the precursor to Halo. It's what started it. They based a lot of Halo off of what they did with Marathon. So the fact that they're even going back to kind of the ghost of Halo just really caught me off guard. I was like, okay, all right, Bungie. Well, maybe you're not done yet here. Maybe you got something else in the cooking, right? So, and Bacon, I understand that not everybody likes Guerrilla's first-person shooters, and certainly Killzone never lived up to what it was. But I got to say that there was some really great aspects to Killzone, and some of the multiplayer was really fun in Killzone. I actually enjoyed it. What I'm saying is that you have Bungie right there to work with Guerrilla Games, not necessarily be the devs, but certainly Bungie could help them kind of perfect or clean up what they were missing out of their Killzone games. And they know how to make a first person shooter. So if they have Bungie like assisting in that, and all of a sudden they kind of figure out where they went wrong with the kill zones and what they could have done better, and you get that Bungie gunplay within that game, well, that automatically makes it a competitor. I mean, that automatically puts it up there because Bungie's got some of the best gunplay in the game. I mean, that's Destiny's forte right there. That's what Halo was built off of. So I definitely think it would be interesting if that all came to play. So
yeah, no, that's crazy. And like you said, I think the shocking thing was, like you said, hearing that they're going back to Marathon. Like, you think that I 100% assumed they were going to do something completely different, something brand new. They talked about, obviously they're going to continue to support Destiny 2 for, at least the next few years, for sure. But I thought they were going to do something like left field, brand new IP type stuff. I mean, technically it will be a new IP. It's been, I don't even 25 years, 30 years since, since Marathon, and Marathon wasn't. I don't believe Marathon was even that popular, right? It never really got. Okay.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't over the top popular. It became more popular once Halo became popular and people went back to it again. Because again, a lot of what they learned from Marathon they used in Halo and perfected in Halo. So, but that's why it's now known because obviously people did go back in the day and play it. So I think it is backwards compatible too. I gotta look in the Xbox store. I think I saw it on sale a couple months ago or a few months ago.
Okay. All right. So chat once again, drop your questions in chat if you have anything that you want us, to answer. If you got anything else that we didn't talk about this week, obviously there's a bunch of other stuff that we can cover here. Let us know if you guys have anything specific that you want us to cover. So I know Fuzz, you got anything else since we spinning back around here? Got a little bit of time. So
let me see. Right now, I'm thinking the big thing now is looking at the two controllers. As far as for anybody that's into like elite controllers and things like that, Sony has their option at $200, which I find a bit steep. Although they do have the pros of replaceable thumbsticks to I guess repair stick drift if that should happen to be an issue down the road. I would have purchased one of those day one, but it's just I don't want another controller in white. I already changed the shell to black, so if they had offered it in blue or black, that would have been a day one purchase. But on the flip side of things, the Elite version 2 is now in design labs, and I'm still trying to figure out what pattern I want to go with. I was going to try to do like a golf like paint scheme, kind of like the old GT40s and things like that. But now you can get your Elite version 2 in design labs, and that's something I've asked for a while, and now I'm like indecisive on which pattern to get. But it's cool to see that they're at least doing that, and I almost wish they would open it up to the consoles, but I know that would probably be a supply chain nightmare for them. But and anybody else interested in either one of the updated controllers or anything like that?
I've never. I'd have to have a lot of expendable cash to even consider a premium controller. Like it just boggles my mind to spend $150, $200 on a controller is like crazy. Have I thought about it? Sure, I've thought about it as I'm playing like Call of Duty or Battlefield, knowing full well that other players are using controllers that do have some advantages in those situations. Yes, I have thought about it, but again, those price points are crazy to me. And we were talking about this morning on the split screen too. The other thing is there was no word that the DualSense Edge even has an upgraded battery. If they haven't upgraded that battery, because that's the one thing about the Elite, right? The Elite, everybody talks about the battery life. Like Steel was saying, literally, I can go a week of constant gaming, and Steel games a lot. Constant gaming, a week without charging it. And I know people that have said they've gone 2 weeks because they don't game as much.
Ditto.
Yeah, it lasts forever. But if the DualSense Edge for $200 has the same damn rinky-dink battery that all PlayStation controllers have that nobody wants to talk about, nobody ever wants to talk about that. Yeah, I know. But again, people, you plug it in, you're fine. Listen, then you're not gaming like I game, because I have 8, 10, 12-hour sessions, and ever since they came out with rechargeable controllers, Sony batteries have sucked, okay? Yes. Period, point blank. And again, unless you have Tool 2 and you have the one on backup, it sucks playing plugged in. It sucks playing wired. I hate it, okay?
I mean, you're buying a wireless controller. You expect a wireless experience.
Exactly.
If I wanted wired, I'd buy wired. Like
and for $200, again, there is no mention of it. So I'm assuming they didn't upgrade it. I'm assuming it's the same damn battery. So you're talking about what, 6 hours, 8 hours, I think is what most people get out of their DualSense.
Yeah, I'm at that point because and I used to be a big proponent against buying a second controller. I'm the only one playing on this PS5. Why do I need 2 controllers? Oh, I know why, because the batteries fucking suck. Like, it's like, all right, I play Gran Turismo for let's say 4 hours. All right, it's already down to 1 bar. I'm like, okay, I got to get the other one ready.
Right.
And all I'm doing right now is painting the car, and the thing is already talking about battery low. It's like, come on, you got to be kidding me.
It sucks.
But nobody talks about it in the community on the PlayStation side.
Right.
Oh, they're
Nobody.
like, batteries in 2022.
Yeah, they'd rather rip on the battery thing for the Xbox controllers, which I'd rather just have. Again, battery packs cost all of $15 for a simple battery pack with 2 rechargeable battery packs. You always have one charge. It's perfect. It's easy. Yeah, the one thing I will say about the DualSense Edge that I do like is you can change out the sticks, right? So if you get stick drift, yes, you'd still have to pay extra, of course. They're not going to give you any extra sticks. No, they're going to charge you $20-$40, whatever it's going to be. But the fact that you can change them out is cool. But I will go back to my original statements from back last year, I think, maybe 2 years ago, when we started talking about the Elite 3 and if it was coming or not. And I said, why don't you guys first worry? Oh, no, we were talking about whether or not the Xbox should have haptics in their future controller. And my point is, why don't you guys figure out how to get rid of stick drift first before you start adding things, right? So why don't you make a controller without stick drift, and then we could talk about doing this cool stuff, right? So that's always going to be my point, because I think it's stupid that in 2022, with all the engineering out there these days, that nobody has figured out a way to avoid stick drift after all these years. So for me, that's a bigger issue, but I do like the fact that they give you the opportunity to change them out. But $200, yeah, you're paying for that Sony/Apple premium experience. So congratulations. That's a little much.
Yeah, I was hoping it would have been like right around the same price as the original, Elite 2, like around the 180 mark, and it'd be like, okay, that's reasonable. But that extra $20 tax, like you said, because of the PlayStation name on it, it's like, and it's in the same color. No, not right now. I'll wait until they mark it down. Now, on the flip side of things, the Series 2, that core one, I think you will see some of those for Black Friday around $99. So I think those will see a good price savings. And if you don't already have an Elite controller, it's still, worth the upgrade, because you get the trigger stop, and you get the different modes for button mapping and things like that you can switch on the fly type of deal. But yeah, I just thought it was cool that they, released. Actually, the one thing I do want to note from this whole deal, Xbox has taken the page from Sony's Screw Your News book type of deal, because they announced the PlayStation Edge. Oh, and later that day, you can get your Elite Series 2 on Design Lab. So it's like kind of like,
I saw that. I thought that was a little ironic, right?
It was great.
Yeah. So they're learning. They're like, and I think more of this stuff will continue to happen the more that Sony makes us think about the ABK deal. It's like, okay, keep talking, Sony. We know, we got your number here. Like, God of War. Oh yeah, by the way, no, you know what? When God of War launched, that's when they'll do the family plan.
Ooh,
that's when they'll talk about the family plan.
That would be awesome.
Oh yeah. So I got another thing, fellas, that I want to kind of throw out there in chat. Once again, let us know how you guys feel about this as well too. Shout out to everybody still hanging out with us live. Appreciate you guys, man. We glad to be back this week, man. But I want to talk to you guys a little bit about this whole frame rate, conversation that's come up recently with a couple games that have come out recently. Gotham Knights, as well as a Plague Tale Requiem.
Yep.
Plague Tale Requiem. Yep. The whole conversation, right? This is almost an annual thing in chat. You guys, if you're on Twitter and you're in the community, we're not talking about the entirety of the gaming community. We're talking about just kind of us, the enthusiasts, as Fuzz would say. This conversation's come up about frame rate again, and what the expectations of these new hardware versus what gamers' expectations actually are versus what these actual devs are trying to get out of the game itself. Like, what the experience are they trying to get across to the actual player? So, and it's really, we'll talk about this. There's really no right, wrong answers. But I kind of love bringing it up every so often because it kind of comes up. So I guess, Pong, we'll kind of throw this over to you, man. Like, it comes up, man, and it's always kind of a, depending on the side of the fence, it's always kind of a tough argument. But, kind of where we at on it at this point.
It's Xbox's fault. Series S is a potato. So what are you going to do, right?
Good answer, right? That's the obvious answer.
The Series S is holding everything back, folks. Even though Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 runs at 120 frames on the Series S. That's really? Okay. So now that we know that's ridiculous and that devs probably should stay quiet, and not come out on Twitter and talk about stuff like that when they should probably respect the fact that the gamers in this community nowadays, and Steele and I talked about this morning, are more educated than ever before. We're not the dumb gamers that get all of our information from magazines that is 3 months old. We now, even us non-techie guys like me, still have a better basic understanding of development work and what goes into it. No, we don't make games. No, I don't know every single thing about every single little piece of dev work that you guys do, but we have a basic understanding that is well beyond what it used to be for a gamer. So when you guys come out with some BS, you're going to get called out on your BS, okay? So knock it off, right? Number two, when this all came down with Gotham Knights, and to a lesser degree, Plague's Tale Requiem, and I think there's a reason behind that as well. But with Gotham Knights especially, it's because they kind of followed the CDPR model that happened with Cyberpunk. They hid a lot of things up until release. Like, this didn't all come out until 5 days before launch, and it only came out because somebody happened to get a preview copy and took it to Reddit or Discord or whatever it was and said, hey guys, just let you know I'm playing the PS5 version, and yeah, it's locked at 30. Like, that's the only reason why we had that information. It's up to the devs to be much more upfront with this information. Let us know the minimum requirement specs for PC a lot sooner. Much like I mentioned before, Silent Hill Bloober team has already come out and give you the minimum spec and recommended specs for PC already. Do that up front. Don't hide it, okay? Don't hide it. We didn't see a lot of console versions when they were showing it off. Some of the videos were uploaded at 4K 60 on YouTube, kind of hiding the fact that things were running at 30 in some instances. They used a lot of PC playthroughs instead of giving us the console versions. Like, a lot of that stuff goes behind all of this kind of uproar. You got to be upfront. Come out and tell us what to expect, not 5 days before launch when you know you made the decision. You admitted you made the decision very early in development that this was going to be the mark you were going to hit. It's 2022. 30 frames is fine. I can still play games at 30 frames. I'm not one of those people. Shout out to Matt, Fun Speculation. Now that he's gotten a taste of 60, 30 frames is really, really tough for him to play. And in fact, he doesn't complete most games, or he doesn't keep playing most games if they're in 30 frames. He'll try them, and he actually is picking up Gotham Knights, funny enough, because he got it on sale somewhere. But he's going to try it, but he can't handle it because he's used to 60 frames. 2022, you can have a 30 frame, you can have the 30 frames, you can have the 4K, you can have all the bells and whistles, ray tracing, all that good stuff. That's cool. If that's your vision for the game, have that. But now that these consoles have been marketed to us, now that we as gamers, educated gamers, enthusiasts, know that these consoles are no longer so much different from PCs anymore, and PCs get like a billion different options, we're not asking for that. What we are asking for is 2 options at least in 2022. Give us your graphics mode, your best looking mode, the one that you want to show off, but give everybody else that doesn't necessarily want that would rather have the feel of 60 frames. And let's be real, 90% of 60 frames is feeling. Yes, it can affect how the game looks too in certain instances, but it's more about the feel. Give us that option here. Just give us one more option. That's all. We're not asking to be able to go in like PC players and change out all these different medium, low, high, ultra. We don't need all that garbage. We just want 2 options. One that includes a 60 frame mode. That's it, period, point blank. And that should not be a ridiculous request in 2022 with how the current gen consoles are built, including the S. It should not be ridiculous to be able to make that happen in nearly 99% of the games. There might be a one-off here and there where they do something completely different or have a proprietary engine that they're just having problems with. But don't come to us, hide all the facts, then make us find out because somebody breaks the news via Discord or Reddit. Then you don't even make an official post out on Twitter. You have somebody go into your Discord, one of the devs, and confirm it that way, and then put an excuse in there, right? Which was almost the exact same excuse that was used by the Dying Light 2 devs, who, funnily enough, we're actually out there bashing the Series S as the problem, the devs themselves from Dying Light 2. And then 2 months later, or less than 60 days later, we had a patch, and now everything's hunky-dory running at 60, 120 frames on
who
both
would
the
have
S
thought?
and a Series X, right?
Who would have
They
thought?
said it was impossible. They said it was not possible to do. Guess what? Yes, it was. Yes, it was. So, like I said, just be upfront. If you didn't have the time, if you weren't given the time, if you weren't given the resources, again, you don't have to throw your executives under the bus. Nobody's going to do that per se. But if you weren't, just come out and say, hey, we made early decisions, prioritize the highest quality graphics. We locked the frames at 30 frames. That was our decision because we had a time frame that we had to get this game out by. We could not delay this game any further. So you are here. Then tell us if you're going to work on a patch or not. Just give us a roadmap. We as gamers in 2022 are very accepting of devs who come out because we see this in most games, unfortunately, whether right or wrong. If you wait a couple months, you're going to get a better experience on the game because the patches are going to be out. They're going to fix things. That's how games work nowadays. We're very forgiving of that. Just give us a clear indicator. Don't come out with some BS excuse and expect us as gamers to be spoon-fed that BS excuse and not say anything back to you. And then especially don't go get all of your dev friends to come out and say, gamers shouldn't be criticizing devs unless they make games. Yo, no, we're not going to do that either. Okay. This is real world. I'm not talking about the personal attacks. I'm not talking about the death threats. I'm not talking about just purely saying, oh, the devs are lazy. I'm not talking about that nonsense criticism. I'm talking about legit criticism that where we're saying, no, and we expect an option of a 60 mode now. No, we know that your excuse is just that. And please give us the real truth about why you don't have it or how much longer it'll take to get it. Or just simply come out and say, nope, this is where it's going to be. We're not planning on any patches. We made the decision and be done with it. You're going to deal with the fallout anyway, but don't try to sugarcoat it. Don't try to give us BS. Just give it to us straight. And that's all you got to do. And it was funny when Dying Light 2 went through their whole thing and the community went after them. Guess what? Suddenly we had a roadmap. Well, suddenly we had a roadmap of when patches were coming, right? That's what happened. And guess what? When they did that, the community was like, thank you. Thank you. Most of us were out here. God, this is great. We have a roadmap. We kind of know what they're planning on doing. Yes, they're working on patches. Hey, look, they finally came out and said, yes, we can get this to work on the S. It's just going to take us a little bit of time. Cool. We're good with that, man. That's all we need to hear. Now, Plague's Tale Requiem, a little bit different for anybody who doesn't know. It runs at a 40 frame, close to locked. It's 40 to 45, depending on the different environments. But you got to have a 120. You got to have a 120 monitor or TV. Yeah. So you got to have the ability to do 120. But it does. And Steel has a problem with this. Steel thinks this is stupid. Just lock it at 30 and tell us you're working on a patch for 60. Don't give us 40 frames. I personally like it because I wanted to play the game right away. I've got a 120 TV. You can tell the difference between 30 and 40. Okay. Mm-hmm. 40 is a little bit smoother. Is it perfect? No, because there's frame rate drops and you can see it, but it's better than the 30. And they've already come out. Asobo's already come out and said that they're working on patches, that they're going to get that 60 because they are shooting for 60. It was even in the advertising on the Xbox store as 60 frames per second for Plague's Tale Requiem. If you didn't know that, they actually were promoting it as 60. So that was the initial goal. Obviously, they didn't have time to optimize it. So, but they've already come out and said they're going to work on that and they're going to get that fixed. So again, give us that. That's fine with me. That's cool. I know you're working on it. I'm cool with that. Again, the Gotham Knights thing was a whole different scenario.
Yeah.
Whether or not it was warranted because the hate train did build and people were just simply saying the game's trash. Okay, look, that's subjective. That's not a fair criticism because again, there's a lot of games that play 30 frames that are still great to this day. So you can't just say the game's trash. The decisions. We can talk about the decisions, we can talk about the optimization, and we can talk about how they handled it and criticize those and let the devs know that, hey, we want a 60 frames option because it's important that devs, not just the Gotham Knight devs, not just WB Montreal, but all the devs start hearing us and knowing that if they're going to bring a game out coming down the road, that they better at least have some kind of plans for 60 frame mode, because that's what the consumers are now asking for. 4K was big last gen, before everybody on consoles got a taste of the 60 frames. PC Master Race was talking about frames nonstop. All of us console only people were like, yeah, whatever, we don't care about that. Give us the 4K, give us the ray tracing. Well, guess what? We changed our minds. You gave us 60, now we really like 60. So don't worry about the 4K, give me 60 frames. That's what I want out of it. So, and yes, for everybody who doesn't know, I will keep the same energy if Starfield, which is in danger, because Todd Howard likes his 30 frames. Yes, if Starfield comes out and it only has a 30 frame mode, a Todd Howard mode, and that's it, I will be back here on the show. I will be playing the game. I will be loving the game because it's Todd Howard and the A-Team, and I still like 30. I don't mind 30 frames anymore, so I will be playing it. But I will be back on the show saying that I will be criticizing Todd. I will be criticizing Bethesda for not giving people an option of a 60 frames. Absolutely 100%, because it's not right to not have that nowadays.
Yeah. No, I agree. And you know, I don't want to get into that too, because Starfield is going to be something else. So we'll get into that in due time. We got plenty of time to talk about that, but this is something that's kind of come up. It comes up periodically, Pong. Like, you know, depending on the game, depending on how important it is to people. There was a lot of people looking forward to Gotham Knights, like, you know, 8-9 months ago, right? Like, a lot of people were, you know, like, hey, you know, this is a game I'm looking forward to. And as time went by, people seemingly kind of lost, you know, the idea that that's the game that they wanted, or, you know, that's become less and less over time. And they haven't really done a whole lot to help themselves. A couple things along the way, like you mentioned, you know, some of the nefarious things that they did with the, you know, with some of the actual, you know, footage that they showed, you know, was edited a particular way. It wasn't very obvious. They weren't very clear as to, you know, what the game was going to be, you know, what the frameworks were going to be. And that just rubs gamers the wrong way. Like you said, we're forgiving. We bitch and complain a lot. You're going to get that, but we're forgiving generally. We allow, you know, as far as consumers, we allow devs a lot of wiggle room. You know, sometimes games come out completely busted and broken. Look at Cyberpunk. They had 2 years. And people are back now in droves playing that game. Millions of players on Steam every day playing Cyberpunk after 2 years. That game came out in a horrible state. So, you know, we will allow time. Just be transparent as possible. I get it. And I'm on board with you, Pong, as the whole, you know, the video game industry being oddly secretive about a lot of this stuff.
Yes.
Whereas music and movies, not so much, which is kind of strange. But either or, we're going to throw this to you. Fuzz, you know, so we can go ahead and get your opinion, man, before we wrap this thing up.
Well, I think the biggest thing is the community as a whole that voice their opinions on it. Hopefully, you know, WB will be listening for when Suicide Squad, you know, comes out. Like, hopefully this is a learned lesson in that regard. I know it's a different studio, but
keep in mind there was a Rocksteady dev out here defending it. So
yeah, and that's the thing that gets me. It's like, even if the S is the lowest common denominator, just if that's the case, there are other games out there and plenty of them that where even if the S is only doing 30, the X and the PS5 are still doing 60. So there's still not that excuse that you can't do it on the other consoles then. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, the CPUs are almost identical when it comes to the S and the X. It's just, you know, like a timing thing or a throughput thing in comparison. But overall, the power output of them are pretty much on par. It's the built-in video card aspect of it that's the difference. So I don't understand why there's this you know, small voice of hate. As far as, like, it seems like there's a handful of devs, and funny enough, some of them are even currently within the Microsoft camp, or soon will be. But it just seems funny to me that, you know, all these games that in this generation, especially now that they want to charge the full 70, it's like, okay, the next generation, one of the things that we could probably agree across the board is that there's been a push, or more of a push, for 60 frames. So that is kind of the differentiator between last gen and this gen. Only, you know, certain shooters and racing games were 60 frames last gen, because the CPU aspect of it or the APU and as a whole just couldn't handle it. But now, like you said, a lot of this stuff is almost like, I guess you could say, like last year's, mid-level or upper level computer parts kind of thing. So it's on par to be able to do a lot of the things that, the low spec or the medium spec, recommended spec PC can do. It's just that it's more of a timing thing. And I guess the big issue more so with WB as opposed to a Sobo, because if you look at a Sobo, even what they did with Flight Sim, it's almost like they're punching above their weight kind of thing, in the sense that they're producing stuff from like a double A studio based on size and some of their budget wherewithal. They're hitting almost triple A, visuals with like less than what most triple A, studios have as far as staff and hardware to work with. So that what they're doing with the 40 frames, I give them at least that they did make a more of a performant mode in comparison to like their graphics mode type of deal. But like you said, if they're still working on a 60 frames mode, at least that they're putting that out there. Don't do like WB did and wait until it's on Discord to make an announcement or confirm it type of thing. But I don't know. I just, for me, I'm fine with some games being 30, but ultimately what I would like to see for most of these next gen games or games on these next gen consoles is make your baseline 60, go up as high as you can on the res. So if 1440 is the highest you can do and still keep it 60, and then maybe scale back some of the ray tracing, keep all the other settings like the atmospheric stuff and the lighting, turn all that up to the nines on like the visual mode, and then have a performant mode if you can, to scale it back down to 1080 and do 60 or even 120 if all possible. Like I'm not saying have like 16 different modes, kind of like what you're saying, what's available on PC, but somewhere between 2 and 3, performance mode, graphics mode, or like a hybrid mode, kind of like what they did with Spider-Man, where it's like, I think even Ratchet and Clank had like a 40 frame or 40 or 45 frames, because that's somewhat visible and works with the higher refresh monitors and stuff like that. But that's, these devs got to listen, at least so that way they don't wind up having missing sales performance numbers, because I'm pretty sure when it's all said and done, it looks like WB wanted to push this out there to get money back on what they've invested in it. I think they're going to be disappointed in the overall numbers that they're going to get, because this bombshell dropping at last minute, it's like people canceling pre-orders, or people that were kind of on the fence are like, you know what, I'll just wait until there's a a big Black Friday sale, or the sale after 3 months or 6 months of this game not selling as well. It'll be a better pickup. But I don't know. Hopefully these loud voices resonate, or at least reach ears that need to hear it, as far as some of these dev teams to at least make the attempt. That's all I got.
Yeah.
All right. No, I feel you. And yes, Zinc. And I don't know if you saw that in chat, Pong. You hear it? You see Zinc talking crazy? Look,
What are you
no, because
saying
I
now?
mentioned
I saw-
Pentiment
Yeah.
being like, I think Pentiment is going to be way better than some people think it is. Like, I think I don't know, man. Like,
It's not going to be for everybody. Listen, the art direction alone is going to turn off some people, and some people are never going to give it a chance because of that. But again, it's Josh Sawyer, one of the best devs out there in the world, one of the most creative minds we have in the gaming industry. You don't have to love his games. I'm not saying that, but the guy knows what he's doing. It's going to be an interesting story. I think it's deeper than what people are going to expect. And I think that there are going to be people that try it, that do fall in love with it, that never thought they would fall in love with it. It is going to probably come down to being a divisive game, though. It's going to be one of those games that a lot of people do dismiss or wind up just not liking because they can't get into it. It's going to be narrative heavy. I'm assuming there's probably some humor to it as well. Josh is well known for that. And I think that there will be some interesting points. It's whether or not people give it a go for a long enough period of time to actually fall in love with it, or at least enjoy it. But yeah, it's going to be divisive. But yes, I think it's going to be better than what people initially thought it was going to be, for sure. Because a lot of people tried it at the last show, where they actually had it. What was it?
In
Or something?
Gamescom? Wasn't it
Gamescom.
Gamescom?
Yeah, it was Gamescom, I think. And there was a lot of positivity from everybody who tried it. So I
Yeah.
think it is going to be one of those games that surprises a lot of people. But it's
Much like
probably
Dusk Falls, or
yes,
As Dusk Falls.
yes,
I
As
think.
Dusk Falls. Correct. Yeah, no, but other Zink's going to talk his stuff. I mean, look at he was trying in there trying to say, oh, there should be hate for God of War because it's got a 4K 30 mode. Look, Zink. You know what? At least Sony Santa Monica's got 5 different performance options for the console, okay? So they don't just have 4K 30. They've got a 120 mode, in fact, as well for God of War. So they're given options. That's all I'm saying is give us options, period. And Andrew Cullinane, you said give you 4K 30 all day. Exactly. That's fine. Just give the other people an option. I'm not saying take away 4K 30 and bells and whistles at all. Make that a regular mode, but just give us, the rest of us, the 60 frames mode so we can decide which way we want to play the game. That's all we're asking for. That's it.
Facts.
Yep.
So I want to go ahead and wrap the show up on that note, man. It was a phenomenal show. Great week to be back, man. Lots to talk about. It's actually been ramping up every single week, man. We're getting more and more information, getting closer to the VGA, so that's going to be more prominent as far as news coming up here. A lot of other stuff happening, but man, shout out to everybody watching live. You guys are freaking amazing. Always hanging out with us, sharing the time. You guys were lit today. Chat was lit. Appreciate you guys so much, man. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to these awesome 2 gentlemen that make me look very well every single week and entertain you guys as well. But we're going to wrap it up with you first, Pong. Appreciate you, bro, every single week, man. I want to make sure I continue to do that, man. Super valuable. Appreciate you, man, you and your time. But let the people know where they can find Pong at.
No way. I appreciate you, PTK. Again, one of the first to invite me to become a panel member when I jumped in this community forever thankful for you, sir. So no, thank you, and Fuzzy as well, of course, brother. I get to talk to you a lot these days because we share a lot of shows, but it's awesome to be here Saturday night. Great show, lots to talk about. Again, this is the hottest industry going, folks. The hottest industry in the world. I will not back down from that statement. This place is on fire. It may not be the biggest one. It is the biggest one in terms of money. Might not be the biggest one in terms of fandom, but listen, it is hot. It is fun. And I love being on these shows each and every week, especially this one here, the Shop Podcast and Saturday Night. Chat, you were all amazing. As always, coming through, saying hi, getting engaged. Love it. And thank you all. Nothing but love and respect for the support that you give all of our shows, not just this one, but all of them. So shout out to you all as well. Pong Soul on Xbox, Pong Soul on Twitter. As always, this week is going to be a good one. I don't think I'm going to make Xbox Factor again. It's month end, but you got to show up. Double Barrel Gaming. Mr. Boomstick is now 5 days a week. Fuzzy's on like 3 of them, or something crazy like that. So Boom has turned into the Terminator in retirement. He is nonstop. So you got to check out Xbox Factor Podcast no matter what. He has a great panel every Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. All good things green over there on Double Barrel Gaming. Thursday night, PM in the PM, Pong and Mav in the PM. Normally, a majority of time, a 2-man show with just me and Mav covering topics. We've been now pushing 3+ hours almost on a weekly basis because there's been so much news. However, we have also turned into the guest show. Mav had lined up a bunch of guests, and then we were supposed to be back to normal. Well, then 3-Bit decided to jump in this week, which is a perfect time because we talked about the S being a potato thing. And obviously we wanted to get 3-Bit's technical perspective as somebody who is a dev, somebody who is currently working on Fable, somebody who is in the industry. We got his perspective. So that was a great show. Go check it out if you haven't already. But this week on PM in the PM, set your alarms, set your reminders, be there Thursday night. Fun Speculations channel, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time, because we have royalty coming into the building on PM and the PM. That's right. The Iron Lords are going to be represented than none other than King David. So
man.
It is going to be entertaining as hell. It doesn't matter if there isn't a single news story. this week, we're going to have King. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a great time. I got to do one of my, my intros that I do. So I don't even know where to begin with that, man, because there's so much to do. But we're going to have a great time Thursday night. So be there for that. And then, of course, Friday night, back on Fun Speculations channel for Xbox Ultimate. Last night was crazy. We had Ham Solo on as a guest. Shout out to Ham.
Great to see him.
Yeah, great to see Ham. Great to be on a show with him. He's doing big things over on his channel as well. But he was on, and we went left. Fuzzy, we talked we talked cars for like 40 minutes. Like, it was crazy. We were just having a good time. That's what you get with Xbox Ultimate. You're going to get a lot of game talk too, and a lot of good conversation, but you never know what topic's going to hit us, and we're just going to go off on it. So we had a great time last night. And then Saturday mornings, you know the drill. Been having some technical issues. Steel has done a ton of work in the background, folks. We don't like having technical issues. Nobody that runs a podcast likes having technical issues. It's the worst experience, not only for the actual chat, but for the host and the panel when you have those technical issues. It sucks, okay? It's not the way you want to run a show. We've had some of those. Steel had it all worked out. He's been streaming all week. Perfect. This morning, we got rolling. Having issues, but guess what? We powered through it on Living Split Screen every Saturday morning. We did power through it. The recording worked fine, so he's got that uploaded. But Steele's going to do some more work and try to figure out what the hell is going on. But you got to be there on Living Split Screen. We got something good going there. It's me and Steele, 3+ hours, normally 4. We're doing 4 again today. You got to show up every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, 3 p.m. BST time. Tell a friend, bring a friend, check us out. Listen to the audio platforms wherever. We're on Mission 1K. But Living Split Screen every Saturday morning. Otherwise, everybody, I'll be back here next week for the Shop Podcast, God willing. Get out there. It's the golden age of gaming, people. There is so much to play right now. I cannot believe it. No matter what you like, no matter what your interest is, there's something for you on whatever platform you're playing on. Guarantee it. So get out there, enjoy it, have a great rest of your weekend, play what you love what you play, and I'm going to talk to you all real soon.
Appreciate you, Pong, man, every single week. You guys know what to do. Go follow Pong on Twitter. That's the easiest way to keep up with him all week. He's on multiple different shows, doing different things. So shout out to you, Pong. Big get as well with King David. I'm tuning in for sure. So stay locked, you guys, PM and the PM. Shout out to Mav as well. We always show love to the extended family FSP, man. Shout out to Caitlin. I know Psycho Jasper was in here as well. Appreciate you, gentlemen, hanging out with us, man. And then last but not least, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, man. Had a great time tonight. I know we getting on this game after we get off of here for sure. But yeah, let everybody know where they can find you, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think my setup is still cutting out here. It's like Jim DualSense or DualSense.
JR DualSense. JR DualSense. Getting you.
Yeah, but man, it was awesome being on here with you guys. Definitely love being back here and interacting with everybody in the chat. And for anybody that wants to hear my continued ramblings on anything gaming, just follow me on Twitter at @fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on the Xbox Lunch Break Special on Mondays on Double Barrel Gaming at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then later that evening at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on FSP on Fun Speculations channel. And then on Friday morning, it will be Breakfast with Boom at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday mornings on Double Barrel Gaming. And then later that evening, like Pong was saying, Xbox Ultimate at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fun Speculations channel. And then right back here on the Shop Podcast with my brothers next Saturday at actually, wait, do we have a time change? No, it's not time change until November.
Not
so it'll
November.
Be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next Saturday.
Yeah, shout out to you, man. Appreciate you, man. And then last but not least, your boy, PTK Bam, across the board. Follow us everywhere. Once again, that's on Anchor FM as well. Audio listeners as well. Once again, all of that's in the down in the description in the link tree. That will be up shortly. Maybe not tonight, but look for the audio tomorrow. So once again, go follow us. Check us out there as well too. And once again, if you're listening this show later on, thank you for listening to us. Appreciate you guys as well. But we'll be back next week, same time, same damn place. More than likely having a guest next week, guys. Appreciate you. Have a great weekend. Peace out.
Later.